Hi, hello, and welcome to the retrogression report. Welcome back to the retrogression report, brought to you by Vertex of Abundance. My name is Serene Priestess of Losi. I'll be your oracle today. And I was sent by the temple to deliberate the findings over the Mercury retrograde, which for the most part will be happening January up until February 3rd, 2022 in Aquarius, okay? Pardon me. There was been some difficulties and the energy was just super intense. There's a lot of horse pucky going on, caca, and ooh, chow, ooh, chow, ooh, let me tell you. So welcome back. We've been away for some time with this retrogression report. And honestly, what put us on the map was the 1111 Divine Lovers series that used to be on a different channel. The channel today is called The Gorgeous Mystery School. Most of the content is being moved here. It is hodgepodge, confusing. It'll get clear pretty soon, I promise you, or at least the attempt will be made to make it clear. It being clear is really up to you. So if you haven't subscribed, please do. You can always do paypal.me/Vertex of Abundance. Let's go ahead and get in. I have this Cosmic Lotus out already. And I will be clarifying with the thought. I will be imposing the guidance with the thought. I will be deliberating the findings with the thought. So let us begin. When Mercury goes retrograde, it's a reread. Not like Rihanna, but it's like reevaluate, rethink, redraft, recraft, restructure, renegotiate, rekindle, reconcile. And if there's someone new, there's a lot of love going on right now. Would prefer not to do too much love stuff, but it's coming through very strongly. So if there's somebody new that comes through, it might be not so great. I've never met somebody new. Personally, I do not know how it works when you meet a new person but I have met a new person in a Venus retrograde. That was unpleasant. Go to my personal channel for that, Ablosi Center for Sacred Living. If you want to hear about that, I won't do anything about that right now. Okay. So when Mercury goes retrograde, there's a lack of filtering. So we know that it breaks down communications because Mercury is your thoughts, not your mind, which is the moon, not your emotions, which is the moon, not your feelings, which is Venus, not your harmony, your love, your unity, which is Venus, your thoughts and your communication. So just because Mercury goes retrograde doesn't mean that's why your phone broke down. Mercury impedes communication. So if you're using your phone to communicate, that's the thing. It doesn't have anything to do with electronics. That's actually Uranus. However, we do use electronics to communicate. So that's Mercury. Okay. Mama's particular about astrology. Hi, hello, and welcome. Okay, children. I don't mean to say that all the time, especially outside of the Eva house. And I'm taking a little bit of time getting back to people. It's difficult to do email. I'm on WhatsApp and Element app and another private app. Okay, so this email is not working anymore. A couple years ago, it used to be the best way. Not anymore. I get long emails. We get long emails. Y'all get long emails. Y'all write long emails. Mama doesn't do more than 2 paragraphs, and you need to have the bottom line up front in the first sentence. I will allow 2. If you have no common sense in your first 2 sentences, I will not continue. Please be like Mama, especially during Mercury retrograde. A lot of y'all don't care about things like that. Right now, you need to. Okay, boo? So we're going to start here in the first house. And since I'm going to do all 12 signs, because I have not been able to, there hasn't been any of this, New Year's reading, and that was supposed to be from September to March. We're just going to have to prepare for March through September, meaning the March or the spring equinox to the autumn, the vernal. It depends on where you are, because some of y'all are in different hemispheres. This is kombucha. It's orange, rose, clementine. And then I added some cherries and bananas and melons and cucumber, a little bit of rose water. And that's what Mama's drinking today. I really like to do the tea call out and have tea time. I try to do away with it. I'm going to do away with cursing instead. And I'll still do the tea call out. Okay. So Mercury here is talking about the refining of the self. And this is a monumental Mercury retrograde, because I feel like the soul of humanity is going to awaken, truly. And I'm also sensing that our self-worth and value is going to come into play as long as we have foundational approaches. So as long as we learn how to deal with our mind, deal with our thoughts, deal with our communication, look for foundations, structures, methodologies, tools, techniques, technologies, theories even. As long as we're going towards harmonization, but starting from the self, meaning be whole inside before we try to unify outside, things are going to improve. However, it will be jarring. These completions are going to bring us perfection of the self. But again, we have to be the self. So there's a lot of boundary, because we're wanting to be liked, we're wanting to be loved, we're wanting to be in union with the community. And since this is going to be mostly in Aquarius, the natural house of Aquarius and the natural house of Capricorn, the way the math is going to work out is it's going to blow up Scorpio and blow up Sagittarius energy. That's a higher law, higher learning for those who are into astrology. But since the sun is rising in Aquarius every morning and Mercury is there, it's gonna light up 11 signs away from that. Now Mercury is exalted in Virgo. So when the sun is rising in Aquarius every day, 8 houses away from Aquarius is Virgo. All right, so I said Virgo, Scorpio, Sagittarius, those are going to be most particularly interesting and dynamic during the season, during the cycle, which ends around February 3rd, but we will be in retrograde onwards from the 20th. A lot of you will be feeling it to the 24th, some of you even to the 29th of February. Now, 29th of January, 28th for some of you, we will be, the Mercury will be retrograding back into Capricorn. So it stations retrograde, meaning stand still, and starts to move backwards today, the 14th-ish in the evening for those of us in the New World, the Western Hemisphere. Okay, and it will continue moving backwards in Capricorn, in Aquarius, and will continue back into Capricorn. So it'll start moving backwards in Aquarius, and then around the 29th of January, it will go into Capricorn, the later degrees of that, and then it will station direct on the 3rd and start moving forward back into Aquarius. And then we will be completely out of the shadow period, which if you don't know what the shadow period means, there's predetermining factors. There's an area of attack. There's an area of highlighted. There's a workspace that Mercury's doing its little ritual. And the ritual is judgment. Now read, because we're doing it and we are not gods. We're living in the third and fourth dimension. We consciously judge our own experience. We can't judge the quality or the hue of a man. We can only make value judgments based on what works for us, what we liked and didn't like. Okay, but that's what the shadow period talks about. It's like a workspace. You know, when you're doing your work, say you're hanging up a picture or you're doing some craftsmanship on your house or something, you might mark with a pencil where you're about to drill, you know, measure twice, cut once kind of deal. Well, that's what's going on with the shadow periods. So we've been in shadow since the middle of December, and we'll be in shadow from the 3rd to the 24th, 29th. I don't remember the dates because I'm just getting back into work here. I've been gone for quite some time, years. Okay, so let's begin here. So we have Aquarius here in the middle because that's the energy. Capricorn will be in the 12th house, and Mercury is moving backwards. What I'm getting is that we're completing cycles of perfection. The soul of humanity is coming to bear, and this is going to be one of those tipping point moments, those where it's like humanity plods along since 2012 for the last 10 years, trying to wake up, trying to get ascended, and then as if overnight, the large majority of people ascend or begin their ascension. And then each year after that, there's going to be massive leaps and bounds in the consciousness of humanity that just a decade before, were non-existent. It would have been like we were struggling for several hundred years to get that level of ascension that we got in a year. Okay, so between 2021 and 2024, there's going to be a lot of souls leaving the earth and a lot of souls upgrading themselves. I'll talk about that at another time. We're going to start with Cancer because that's, for me as a reader, where I need to start. If you know your sign energy, your rising sign or North Node, you always want to start with your 8th house because the attacks during the messages go way down and it becomes clear. What you need is consciousness, what you need is surety, what you need is to be fully alive within the self. That's what the temperance card, la temperanza, means. The search for the innermost self and perfecting of the self, so much so that you become indestructible because God is alive in you, or higher source, whatever that is. Pachamama, creator, Mama Sequelisa, whatever. Okay, great. So another thing that I'm sensing, let me just read this down for you. It's for everybody. We're starting with an aha moment of some kind. And ultimately, it's going to be a transformation. For some of us, it'll be endings. These endings have to deal with tower moments, collapsing structures, whether they be relationships, work agreements, living arrangements, suddenly being let out of prison, suddenly being let out of debt, suddenly the truth comes out, blinding flashes of the obvious, aha moments even. It's definitely around structured institutions, especially the power that we give towards structured institutions, or who and what we mean to said structures and institutions. Because our self-worth and value needs attention. Our eternal self needs attention. And spirit isn't asking. So what that'll do is it will give us this impetus of understanding why we've been surrendered, sacrificed. Some of us have literally been sacrificed. We've been subjugated to something that has stolen our power, stolen our spirit, stolen our eternal self. To surrender, the sacrifice, we will need to have begun to see things from a different perspective. But until we could have done that, it would have felt like we were at an impetus of some kind of impasse, but it always had some kind of spark of a new hope. What that is, I don't know yet. It has to deal with alignment of the true authentic self, your higher self, your oversoul. Overstandings, not understandings. Understandings, not understandings. As we move on into this cycle here of Mercury retrograde, we realize that the conflict, the challenge, the crossing is to be our authentic self. Truly, truly, truly. Who we are, what's alive in us, and what's calling to express itself, and what is our soul's yearning. Our soul's yearning is the belief in creation and the co-creation with the universe. In order to do that, we need to remove all the things placed in that path, the dirt on the path, the karma on the path, the dirt on the soul, the karma in our soul. Whether we were born with it, whether we came here and created it, and going down that journey, negotiating, navigating through this world, we're going to have to show up and participate and be present with Dharma, karma, other souls, and humanity as the collective. So what is that? What does it look like? Well, the reason for this is that there's some healing, but the healing is going to be wounds. Some people may be coming back from her previous lifetimes. I was going to say previous cycles in our life. To close out cycles. And some of these cycles are going to be new situations. We will be meeting a lot of twins. There will be a lot of twin flame reunions over the next 3 weeks, or ending of false twin cycles up until February 29th or 8th. I don't know what is this year, 2022. It's not a leap year or whatever the Gregorian whatever calendar does. Onwards towards the end of February, we will be completing, for those of us that didn't reunite with a twin, we might be closing out cycles of false twins. There's some powerful manifestation too as well. Venus will be intersecting somehow. I don't quite remember what it was. I'll get better with the astrology. I'm just jumping back in the pool right now, so I'm learning how to swim again. You never lose it, but I don't have the daily repetitive routines to be up with astrology like I used to. I'm just going to channel this message. So there's a focus here. And the focus is literally illumination, enlightenment, vitality, reinvigoration, healing. But healing meaning things come to the light, and some of these things are coming to the light from the depths of our soul, but other of these things are coming to the light from system structures, affiliated, that we're affiliated to. The word is affiliated systems. We're called in some machine, and we begin to understand our individual part in that whole. Well, also, there's been some sorcery or lies or deception around our belief. We've been conned into believing something. We as a collective bought a lie. We were taught a lie. We were organized and structured around the lie. We were indoctrinated into a lie, some kind of malicious mystery. And it has to deal with God and the universe and ourselves. So as we move to integrating this aha moment, cycles will open up and close. Fortune, destiny will at least be made known to us, if not come for us. Because the sacrifice to make here is to open our eyes and open our eye. Open our eyes and open our eye. So we have 3 eyes. Really, your human eyes, the ones that you look out of, those are your second and third eye. Your first eye is the one that you close your eyes in order to see. So when you close your eyes, you see. When you open your eyes, you look. And this theory, concept, idea will be more stronger, will be stronger and more sturdy as time goes on. So remember who said it first to you. It's the priestess of Losi. When you open your eyes, you look. When you close your eyes, you see. Because the evolving situation is us receiving our abundance, but according to how much our soul awakened and how in co-creation we are with the universe. If we don't have devotion to the goddess, our blessings will be there because we have a divine right as human beings. However, it won't be as big and monumental. You might see other things going on other people's sides that they've been doing just as much as you have been doing, or less, and they're receiving more. And the reason is devotion to the goddess being chosen. So what does it mean to be chosen? Well, it means to withstand attack for most of your life, because there will be jealousy, and it won't always be clear, it won't always be out in the open, and it won't always be logical. And I just like the word jealousy, but it's coming through. So that concludes the collective reading. I'm going to go into each individual sign. I'm going to start with Cancer. Know that I honor you, know that I love you, know that I pray you. If you want to leave a tip or donation, perhaps book a reading, jump into the flash sale, all that information should be in the show notes. Until we read again, until we meet again, namaste, and Navat and Ashe. Again, this is the retrogration report brought to you by Vertex of Abundance, Galactic Temple of Ascension. My name is Serene, Priestess of Losi. I was your oracle today, and I was sent by the Temple Network to deliberate the findings for the Mercury Retrograde and most of Aquarius. Healing rest also is another word. So listen, it's going to be a lot of love out there. It's going to be very painful for us. I'm not able to end the reading. I'm being compelled to stay. We need to rest because our heart is opening and we're finding true union, but the union needs to be with the divine first, as I was saying. Just let me love you, is what I'm hearing. Okay, so our soul families are being restructured, and those who need to be repelled are being repelled. People being taken away, ripped away, purged, repelled, that's actually a version of healing. It only looks destructive from down here. Final endings that have been difficult and harsh because what's in the future is divine love, divine love, divine love, divine love, divine love. I need to say it like that, divine love. We planted the seeds, but the seeds are within ourselves. So if we're not working on the self, we're not getting a vibe. Yeah, because the kingdom of heaven is upon you. It's opening up. And heaven is Eve. It's Eden. Our inheritance is coming, and that's our celestial divine endowment. It's not some windfall financially. It may be for some of y'all, because there are a lot of people leaving the earth soon. But don't think like that. Don't wish death upon no one. Yeah, truly, genuinely, sincerely, the right kind of people are going to be in our lives because we're healing and we're finding our soul family. It's been an honor and a pleasure to serve you today. Thank you for allowing me to service with you. So again, if anything that was said resonates deeply with you, go ahead and go ahead and cancel now. Go ahead and check out the information in the show notes, tip, donation, reading, all that stuff. Take good care of yourselves. Love yourselves, rest well, true self-care, true healing, true rest, without a racing mind, without an anxious spirit. Until we meet again, until we read again. Au revoir. Sayonara. Wiedersehen. Das Vidani.